All righty. Just want to get started with just a few little announcements before Rick and Penny take over. Sorry, Rick, I was just thinking how, because I have you saved as Rick and Penny Lilly. Most people see Rick Penny, so everyone thought Rick's last name was Penny.
Yeah, they were giving me a hard time out when we were doing our meetings out in Michigan. So that was funny.
So sorry, seeing Penny in the background, it's like it's Rick Penny. Oh, anyway. All right. Little bit of house cleaning here. We have LV Academy. I hope every one of you are scheduled for LifeVantage Academy near you. They're once a month. I mean, our next convention is not until, what is it, April, right? You get that right? Yes. So, staying connected is so important about staying excited. I haven't been sanding floors for about 6 weeks, and today I was able to listen to meeting after meeting, pro series, phone calls, and let me tell you, it gets me so excited. I wish I could call people I'm sanding. Too noisy. So I encourage you guys, it's about being plugged in and about, remember, if you're not going to these LifeVantage Academies, most likely your people aren't going either. So this is a duplicatable business, and if you want your people to be successful, you want to go to those. So just want to put that plug in. And Sam Flake is coming to town here in Michigan and Iowa. Next week, it's going to be a busy week, let me tell you. Sam Flake going with Rick and Penny's team in Iowa, starting out there on Monday, and Monday night I'm picking them up at the airport, and then Tuesday we've got them booked from 1 o'clock starting at, I can't remember her town, but Dawn and Dave Haig taking them there, and then at Karen Gorman's house at 3 and do some training there. And then at 6, we're meeting at a restaurant. It was the cheapest place we could come up with to have a meeting, and they do have doors that gets closed off. So we're hoping this works out pretty good. But if you come for dinner, it's free, okay? If not, there's a $10 charge because we have to have so many meals there, to use the room. We have to have at least 30 meals. So we're hoping to fill that up. So anyway, that'll be from 6 till it gets over.
Where is that, Brian?
That is it's on Big Blue calendar. If you go to Michigan on Big Blue, it's called Champs. It's at a mall right up there.
Is that the one I gave you directions to the other day?
Yes.
Okay.
So it'll be at Champs restaurant there, and the food was pretty good. So come and join us there. Okay. I don't know about you guys, but I listened to the meeting today. There's a replay. Thank you, Rusty, for posting that. And he posted on Slack, and you can listen to the new comp plan as the Pro 10s explain that. And I'm telling you guys, everyone wants to go Pro 3 or above quickly, as quickly as you can, because you want these bonuses. $50 for every platinum pack that comes in your team as a Pro 3. If it's in your enroller tree, which means you enrolled someone who enrolled someone, who knows, doesn't matter how far deep, unless you have another Pro 3 and between you, you will make $50 for every single one. Man, if this would have been implemented, man, before I came on, I'd be making a lot of extra money. So, so just excited about that and want to help everyone go Pro 3. So you guys can get that bonus. And then Pro 5. If you want to skip Pro 3 to Pro 5, we're good with that too. So
That'll work. Yeah.
let us help you get there. One other thing, Rick and Penny and I were talking a little bit. If you guys have not listened to the last replay of Dr. Marvin's call, you've got to listen to that. It blew me away. It's kind of scary. But radiation, not the sun's radiation, this is actually the bad stuff. I mean, all radiation is slightly bad, but you know what I mean. From nuclear power plants, the one in Japan is just emitting nonstop radiation into the atmosphere. And because they said North Korea blew a couple bombs, I guess, off in the atomic bombs somewhere, and that's gone into the atmosphere, that they've been doing testing at some major cities, and there's a website on there. I was working, so I didn't have a chance to write that down, but they're saying over 200% increase in radiation is falling on just about everyone in major cities. And you can actually see what those readings are for every city. That is scary, guys. But you know what? The number one treatment that they have found that can help protect you from that is glutathione. And we have the only product clinically proven to increase glutathione over 300% in 120 days. How many people need to hear about that?
Everyone.
I don't care how well you eat. You can be 100% raw food. Don't take this, sorry, Rusty, but you could be 100% raw food diet, and it still won't protect you from radiation. But turning on NRF2 does. So that was just powerful. You want to listen to that. So with that, so thankful for Rick and Penny. They've offered to, well, they didn't offer. I asked them and they accepted. Politically correct here, to lead out and share with us some of their golden nuggets from their experience and what they've been learning. And thank you so much, you guys, for your leadership. Really, I look up to you guys. You're just doing incredible things, and you're huge examples for me. So with that, I'll let you guys take the show on the road here.
I appreciate that invite, Brian. I am going to have Penny just talk. That call the other night was just, she was ablaze with her pen over there with notes as he was talking, and probably couldn't hardly keep up. But I'm going to have her share a little bit about some of her nuggets that she pulled from that, because as most of you are on the call may or may not know, Penny's in the nursing profession and has taught nursing for many years. And so anything that she can grasp from doctors, especially Dr. Marvin, is an amazing thing. But this call was especially, like Brian said, was especially off the charts, because I can remember when I had the vocal cord cancer and had to do the radiation, and the kind of like sunburn I got on my neck from the radiation. And I had radiation in 2001, and still today, if I'm, out physically active or doing a lot of work outside, that you'll still see the sunburn on my neck from that radiation. And so I'm gonna let Penny share some of her notes that she took from that call.
I didn't know I was going to do this, but I didn't take as many notes as I thought, but this is what was crazy about it. They have radiation, you got Geiger counters, and I think it's clicks per minute maybe, but it's clicks, I know, is it's CPMs is how it's measured. And normal shouldn't be, or should be, or shouldn't be, whatever, about 5 to 20. And when he was listing different cities, I was kind of listening. There was a city in Colorado, there was one in Iowa, there were some different cities, and it didn't seem to matter where it was, although elevation makes it worse. But the clicks that he said are in those cities are over 1,000. I mean, it was like one city would be 1,200 and something, one city would be 1,100 and something. That is like, well, put it this way. If we're getting that kind of radiation, I bet this goes wild in Japan because they've got it right over top of them. So, but with protandem, it's protective against radiation. And, you know, when I heard this, my friend wanted me to send it, and I'll tell you, any medical person that sees this is a reason why somebody should be on it from the time that they're little from then on, because it's not on the news. They're not telling anybody this. With this much radiation that's all over in the atmosphere now, you're going to look at cancer takes about 10 years to develop itself. And so you're probably looking at like 10 years from now, maybe 15 years from now, you are going to see like a major increase in cancer, so much that I would say probably everybody's going to get cancer of some kind. I don't even know where to put this in my mind. I don't even know why this isn't on the news, other than they never tell us anything that's important. But there's nothing you can do about it. Dr. Marvin said you could have a lead roof if you could do that, but then you get lead poisoning, so that'd make you retarded. So no. But anyway, the site you can go to is yourradiationthisweek.org. It's your YOUR radiation, RADIATION, thisweek.org. And you can look on there and see the different cities and what the radiation levels are. But it's not going to change right away. I mean, it's not something that just blows in and blows out. Well, it will some, but Cassie, my daughter, had looked up a study, and it didn't say what the product that they were using, but there was some, she's into biology, and there was some kind of product they were using to protect the fish, and it raised glutathione levels. So she was kind of curious if they weren't using some kind of protandem type thing there. But anyway, boy, this is amazing. I mean, people who say, well, I can't tell any difference. Oh my goodness, you better be on this with this radiation thing. This really blew me away. This is the only thing I know of that could protect you from this, is taking protandem. So
that website that Dr. Marvin gave out, I think that particular site is updated on a weekly basis.
yeah, I think it is.
So you have these towns that are being blasted by this radiation or the overexposure. And it's just, the information was just amazing. So good stuff for protandem users.
Well, they said that radiation wouldn't get here, but I guess part of whatever was in Japan, part of that whole thing where the radiation blew up, I guess it hit our coastline in the West Coast. So they're saying, well, I guess it does come here, which it is coming here. So.
All right. We're going to transition from that to the theme for tonight, and that's personal development, personal growth. And I'm going to try to get through this within the next 45 minutes, I hope, and I probably will.
No.
But we'll see how that goes. But to start that, I'm going to read a poem out of a book called "The 15 Invaluable Laws of Growth" by John Maxwell. And so when we talk about, especially in this business of network marketing, there are sometimes people who quit, or people who struggle, or just have a hard time with the concept of network marketing or business in general. It's not that they can't do it. It's they don't have the skill set, or they don't have that personal development with themselves down. And so I'm going to be explaining some of this tonight as we go, but I thought this was worth reading. So here's the short poem. If there were ever a time to dare to make a difference, to embark on something worth doing, it is now. Not for any grand cause necessarily, but for something that tugs at your heart, something that's your aspiration, something that's your dream. You owe it to yourself to make your days here count. Have fun, dig deep, stretch, dream big. Know, though, that these things worth doing seldom come easy. There will be good days. There will be bad days. There will be times when you want to turn around, pack it up, and call it quits. Those times tell you that you are pushing yourself, that you are not afraid to learn by trying. So I thought that was significant little poem to start to kind of like an icebreaker off with the personal development. But I also wanted to there's all sorts of definitions out there with personal development. I come across one that was I thought was interesting. Personal development is also known as self-development or personal growth. It involves the growth and enhancement of all aspects of us as people. The feelings the person has about himself or herself, and the effectiveness in living. It includes the development of positive life skills and the development of realistic and healthy esteem. I know there was a lot there in that paragraph, but in his book, The 15 Invaluable Laws of Growth, John Maxwell states there are 3 different types of people. And again, in the realm of authors and development, self-development gurus per se, everybody has their own idea of the different types of people, but I liked his version. So the different types of people are these 3. People who don't know what they would like to do. Then there are people who know what they would like to do, but don't do it. And there are people who know what they would like to do, and they do it. So those are 3 different types of people. And so in my personal growth, I tend to focus on 2 areas in my life, and this is concerning me, because everybody's different. But I tend to focus on being intentional and passion. And those 2 are key words for me, especially in my men's ministry. I always use the word of being intentional. And we have to have a passion. And so intentional meaning that, and I kind of looked that up in the dictionary here. Intentional meaning you're actively pursuing daily interactions in your life. Key word, actively. You're actively pursuing something in your life. You're intentional in doing that. You have a passion with doing that. And so for me, I'll use myself as an example. I'm intentional. I try to be intentional daily. Before I start my day with anything, I start it with prayer and scripture. I tell my guys in my group or people that I try to disciple, you have to start your day that way. And then knowing that of all the health issues that I've had over the years, and I've known this even before I had some of the major issues with stroke and seizures and cancer, I've always known that a part of that being intentional was my health. And whether that's walking, jogging, golfing, fishing, the diet. We have to be intentional in that on a daily basis. I had I think it was a sports psychologist here a while back, explain that from the time we were born and until the time we get in our early 20s, if we would have taken care of our lives in all those areas, if we would have developed a sickness or disease after the age of 20, our bodies would be able to counterbalance that. But if from the time we were born until the time we were in our 20s, we just trashed our lives, physical wise, health wise, if we develop a major health issue, it's going to be tough to overcome that issue. And I thought that was very significant. So, and here a while back when Penny and I got together, I'll tell you what, one of the blessings of the intentionality in this business was it has brought her and I closer together as a team. Communication still is a thing that we work on, but I think that's for most married people. But we committed, and I hope she remembers me saying this, and she probably will. We committed to being intentional in doing something with our marriage once or twice a year. And that may not sound like a big thing, but in this hubbub of things we call a marriage, I mean, we're going on 20 years, and you still need that time. You need that time to connect, and a marriage retreat, a conference, a marriage conference, whatever that may be, we need to be intentional in doing that. And so that's all part of this personal growth process that I'm in right now. Protandim has enabled me to do this business and get my life together. But I do know this, and it's very important, and I'm working on this daily. And this book by John Maxwell is helping me in the fact that we have to work on ourselves before we get better. And this is in network marketing, it'll eat you up and spit you out quick. And you have to have some intentional fortitude, and but stick with it. But to do that, you work on yourself. You work on your strengths and your weaknesses, more so your weaknesses. The other thing that, as far as being intentional, is we have to be intentional and passionate about our LifeVantage businesses. We've got to treat it as a business. You have to treat it as a business. If you treat it as a part-time gig, you're probably going to get part-time benefits or less. And so that personal growth comes in. The remarkable thing about LifeVantage is we have the resources and tools right in front of us. We have the system, the proven plan. If you're intentional in doing those, in doing what it takes within that system, within our system we have here, you have a good chance of being successful. I think in our first training that we did, I was talking about we don't have to recreate the wheel here. It's already put in front of us. So whether it's the books, whether it's the tapes, whether it's the conferences, or the proven plan and the system, plug into it, like Brian said earlier. Plug into it. And we have to have a passion. Find out what your passion is. My passion is to disciple men, disciple people, and to help them in their journey. And that has transferred over into this LifeVantage business because I see a correlation with discipleship and helping people. And it's an amazing thing. I just got back from a week of getting in the car, driving 9 hours, some 560 some miles to North Dakota to do some meetings. And to tell you the honest truth, I hadn't driven that far by myself since I had the stroke. But it was an amazing week that I had up in North Dakota with trying to help some downline. So find your passion, be intentional, and seek that personal development, personal growth. Got some things here, kind of in summing things up. I would like for us to focus on 3 areas, and going back to. If you were writing things down, I'm going to reiterate the first 3 that I told you earlier, in that there are 3 people, 3 different types of people. People who don't know what they want. People who don't know what they would like to do. The second type is people who know what they would like to do, but don't do it. And the third type of person is the people who know what they would like to do, and they do it. And so he follows it up in his book with 3 different areas that we need to focus on also in our personal development, personal growth. And the first one is, do you know the difference between what you want and what you're good at? I'm going to repeat that. Do you know the difference between what you want and what you're good at? Number 2, do you know what drives you and what gives you satisfaction? Do you know what drives you and gives you satisfaction? And the third one is, do you know what your values and priorities are? And do you know what and depending on, what it could be LifeVantage, it could be something else, but particular for us as a LifeVantage family, do you know what the organization's values and priorities are? And it was a good segue when Brian talked about the new comp plan. Their company that we are involved in here in LifeVantage, they have it all in front of us. They have the pillars of success in front of us. They have what we need to use to be Pro 10. I listened to that same call today, and it was an amazing how you can get a handful of Pro 10s together and they're all on the same page. And all you have to do is follow the system. All you have to do is be intentional in what you're doing. All you have to do is find that passion to want to do it. And so, at this point, I have to give, I'm going to hold on, and Kim's got her hand up. And she's muted. There you go, Kim.
Repeat number 3.
Repeat number 3. Do you know what your values and priorities are? Do you know what your values and priorities are, and what your organization's values and priorities are? And I was talking about the company that we have as far as our LifeVantage family. They set it in front of us. We don't have to recreate anything. That system is put in place for us to be successful, and we just got to do it. And so, it's interesting. I called Sam Flake right after I was going through some studying on looking into what I was going to share tonight, and I asked Sam. I said, Sam, over the years that you've been in this business and being at the rank that you are, what is the most important part of personal development? What have you latched on? Who have you gleaned off of in your personal development walk? And it didn't surprise me that he said this, the times that I've had the chance to share with him, but he says Scripture and prayer are important for him. And that was one of my top list, as I said earlier. For him, it was specifically Proverbs 3, 5, and 6. Proverbs 3, 5, and 6. I'll have Penny get me a Bible. But then I asked him, I said, so as far as apart from the spiritual aspect of it, men in your life that you've gleaned off of in your personal development, personal growth walk. And these are 3 names that you can write down. And anything that they have as far as a book, a CD series, or anything, I would suggest you get it, because that's part of our personal growth. And the first man, his name's Jim Rohn. Jim Rohn is the author of Building Your Network Marketing Business. And so I would suggest to get a copy of that. And it's in CD form also. Second person he mentioned that was an asset to him in his personal growth was Eric Worre. Get the book called Go Pro. It's also in a CD series. And I understand some people have a hard time reading, and so that's why that CD series are powerful too. The Pro Audio series, like Brian said earlier, it is an amazing thing.
What was
And
Jim,
the third man he mentioned,
what was Jim Rohn's book? What's the name of it?
Jim Rohn's book, Building Your Network Marketing Business. And the third man that he mentioned who was instrumental in some of his personal growth was Robert Kiyosaki. And so three men that are very knowledgeable in the business aspects of network marketing. And I thought that was invaluable. So as far as another nugget that I gleaned from as far as talking about personal growth and personal development was from when I had spent some time with Rusty. And we listened on the way to Michigan, a series by Steve Shapiro. Steve Shapiro. Listening for Success is what this was called. And that was an amazing thing. It was an amazing thing. And it's those are tools that Steve had in this teaching on listening for success, that if I'm intentional in using that, it's going to help not only my Life Vantage business, but it's going to help in my marriage. And Penny would always like me to be listening more intently. And so that was an amazing thing. So Rusty, I thank you for being able to share that with me that during that time. It was an amazing thing. And so, but what I'd like to do now is kind of open it up in the time we have left and ask, what are you doing in your personal growth? What are you utilizing for that personal growth? Because we all have to grow. And again, I kind of go back on my experience, my struggles early on in the business, had everything to do. I'm telling you, you need to hear this. Had everything to do with the lack of personal growth. And I truly believe that. And so I'm going to try to be more intentional in invites, be more intentional in calls, be more intentional in meetings, be more intentional in going those miles. I have no doubt that that trip to North Dakota was not my last trip. So I'm looking forward to that and helping some people grow. So if you would be so bold as to kind of talk about what are you utilizing for personal growth? Are you struggling in those areas? So Kim, you got your hand up again.
Okay, I think one of the things that's helped me to grow the most since I've been in Life Vantage, when Rusty and Brian pushed me to work on my story. That was one of the hardest obstacles I have had to overcome in this company. Well, in general. But being willing and praying through it and getting to the point where I could write it out and then getting in front of people and sharing it has been a freedom that I have never had ever since I lost my leg. And so that has helped me to grow. I mean, tremendously has helped me to grow. It's helped me to overcome my fears and getting in front of people, sharing your hardest thing that you could possibly share. So I think that in learning how to do that, it's taken away a lot of my other fears of, can I do this? Because if I can do that, I can do anything.
Good. I'm going to use Kim as an example because we were coming back. I was coming back from one of my last meetings in North Dakota, and I had the distributor in the car with me, and she had been experiencing some kind of negative phone calls up until that evening when we had a good meeting. And I knew this. I said, I think I'll call Kim. I think she needs to hear Kim's story. And so, Kim, I thank you for sharing your story with Terry because it changed her perspective really quick. So I appreciate you sharing that and that passion. And you bring up Kim said a key word, and I'm big on acronyms. And so I'm going to throw one out there, and everybody can use it. I'm not going to charge you for it. It's called FEAR. FEAR. And here's what I use with people. False evidence appearing real. False evidence appearing real. It's deception. The evil one, he does not want any of us to be building this business on a successful level. And so fear is a big tactic that the evil one uses to keep us from making our phone calls, keep them from driving the miles and saying, oh, you know what, Rick, you're just a pro 3. You have no business going 560 miles and spending a weekend doing meetings. And I prayed against that. And we had some successful meetings. So, and again, a conduit to that was Brian and Rusty. These two men are like brothers to me. And, the teaching, the leadership, the training that we get from these two men is invaluable. And so I understand that most of you are in one way or another utilizing Rusty and or Brian, and I suggest you keep doing it because it's like taking Pretandem. It's like these two guys are I could be on a down day and I could call either one of them and get back on track. Same way with Kim. I knew Terry was having a bad day that day because I was overhearing some of the calls that she was making, and they were brutal sometimes. And we had another meeting to go that night, and I thought, I'm getting Kim on the phone. And so it was an amazing, amazing thing we do. So Kim's story is special. So I appreciate that. Anybody else? Personal development, personal growth. What do you use to help you overcome, like Kim was saying, overcome those fears, especially for someone who hasn't been doing network marketing very long and they've already come against some obstacles.
All right. If you're on your phones, you might have to hit *6. I don't know. I like the dual image of Rusty. We have a back.
Hasn't quite got. I've never seen the decorative table before. It was always a mountain behind. It was always a mountain and everything. But Rusty, I'll pick on you if I could. What do you use for personal growth and development? I think he's muted.
Okay, Rick.
He's on twice.
Wow. I heard him.
Okay.
Okay. I muted the one. Let me unmute.
Oh,
I'll try it.
No. There we go.
I can hear you now.
Now try it.
There we go. Okay, thank you. So for learning, between the camera on myself here, we had you on the big screen. We were watching you on there, so I decided to come in here personally. My personal growth, number one was that listening for success. As far as just personal, I think that was really, really helpful. Rick, you and I listened to that, partially. And I think that the other thing that I'm doing right now is I joined that Go Grow 90. And I've already finished the 101 course. It's like 6 or 7 videos that you watch. And one of the things that he stresses in there is that when you're making out your calendar, when he's working with you, you can't actually move forward until you've made an appointment with your wife and your children. I thought that was interesting. You cannot move forward in his training. You cannot move forward in anything with him until he'll say, so did you commit time on your calendar for your wife, your spouse, and your children? And if you say no, then he says, well, do that and call me back. And that was kind of interesting to me. I think that it shows the commitment that, and it's making that commitment. He said sometimes you have in this network marketing, you'll have spouses who really are not happy with the situation. And he says that he's won almost all those spouses to him because the person says, well, they go to their spouse and say, let's say the husband goes to the wife and says, we need to have a date night. She goes, oh, wow. Why is that? He says, well, because you're important to me. And then he also eventually shares that, as part of the training is getting a life full of value. And that's really by having the relationships that are around you. So that action of making that appointment every week with your spouse is part of personal development and relationship development. And so that's an important thing that we all need to make sure that we're doing. I think that obviously Eric Worre and going to his training the last, I think 3 or 4 Elite Academies is very, very helpful. But, also there's a guy named Bob Heilig on Periscope, and I follow him as well. He has a little 5 to 7 minute, I shared it many times out to you guys, but he'll always have a little nugget for the day. I think, spiritually, I've committed to the Bible. I mean, I study it every day, and that's just one thing that I've done for years. I think that it was just a commitment that I made. I know that doesn't make me more righteous than anyone else. It's just a commitment that I made to do that every day, to always spend time in prayer and study every day. And some days are better than others, but I'll tell you that commitment over time is why I am the way I am. I mean, I have to give the credit to God, because the more I learn of him and want to emulate him, the better person I'm going to be. So that was a long answer.
No, that was a good answer, Rusty, and I thank you for sharing. 2 key words that I'm going to remind you that are on the call, that both Rusty and Kim, 2 areas that they had in what they just said. What were they? I'd shared them earlier. You have to, for me specifically, the 2 areas that I had that you have to know. I'll remind you. Be intentional. Be intentional in your daily walk. Now, whatever that is, whether it's Life Vantage or something else, it does. Be intentional, people. Be intentional, and find your passion. Kim's passionate. Rusty's passionate. And there are a bunch of people on this call that I know are passionate. But I think we can all work. We can all definitely work on finding keys, finding those areas in our life for self-development, personal growth. And for me, it's going to be read backwards there, but it's John. This particular book is John Maxwell, and it's been an eye opener for me. And anybody else would like to share what they're doing, because it's always interesting to me to listen more intently to people who are experiencing that personal growth in their personal lives, and that's going to transition into business growth in your Life Vantage business. Brian?
I was listening today. One of the upline team calls. I can't remember which one, but this gal was talking about, we're talking about personal development, and this is part of it. People are not going to listen to you unless they feel like you care. And learning to care about others and even in my presentations, I've been trying to think, okay, how can I get them to see that I do care? That it's just not a business, it's about them. The more we can make, our conversations about someone else, to me, that is a big part of personal development, because I don't care in all walks of life. Forget the business, but in your personal relationships, your spouse, okay, your children, like you guys brought up, it's caring about everyone and projecting that. And a lot of it, they said, is your story, like Kim brought out. Sharing your story makes you vulnerable, and makes you look human, and that you do care about others, and you're caring about why you're sharing it with someone is not just to get them in your business, it's because you care about them.
Very good. Appreciate that, Brian. Want to piggyback off a person that Rusty had mentioned, and I had it's funny how things work out when you get on a call like this and you hear some things. But I had right after this today, when they gave the webinar on the comp plan, I just caught the Bob Heilig piece, and I had seen him before, but he said, success, and I'm not going to be quoting him word for word, but success is going to be difficult. We're not going to, if we're not, I'll put it this way. Success is failure turned inside out. Success is failure turned inside out. We are going to fail our way in a lot of ways to Pro 7 and beyond. Pro 10s will tell you, they have no problem telling you they're failures. That makes them real, like Brian said. So that relational value that Brian talked about is very important. But success is failure turned inside out. So don't be afraid to fail, because if you're not failing, you're not going to succeed. If you've had 100 no-shows, keep going. If you can't do the invites, get with someone who can mentor you to do it. It's an invaluable tool to have. So anybody else would like to share what they're doing, what they're utilizing in that personal growth, personal development toolbox? It's a very, very important. Mike, you're muted. There you go.
Hey, so I'm Rusty talked about doing Go 90 Grow by Mark Januszewski. I'm doing the other part of his seminar called Master Key Mastermind Alliance. And so it's a 6-month course every week. In fact, that's why I've been missing Monday nights, because they have a digital digital training they do on Monday nights from 7:30 to 8:30. And it usually runs over. But I've been studying that and trying to work with the conscious and subconscious to have more of a successful thought pattern. I mean, I've told you guys before, I've been in corporate America for 34 years, so I know how to survive, but I don't know how to thrive, and I don't know how to be the person I want to be. So it's a lot of time. It's taken a lot of time. But one of the Brian, we were just talking about, one of the books that we're studying is Og Mandino, the world's greatest salesman, and in it there's 8 or 10 scrolls. They're called scrolls. They're chapters, and you have to read one scroll for a month, 3 times a day, every day. And this we just started scroll 2, and it's talking about love. It says that no salesman can be successful without love. And one of the exercises you have to do is everyone that you encounter, as you greet them, to yourself, silently you say, I love you. That is tough. Let me tell you. I love you. It's terribly tough. But what he says happens is that love oozes out. Your eyes, your voice, your pores, everything about you, you're conveying how much that person means to you. Number one, I think I talked about it before on a call before. You go to a grocery store or a drive-through or any place you go and you encounter someone, look them in the eye and you say thank you or hi, hello, hey, thanks a lot. They just go, like, what's wrong with you? And now amp that up and start thinking, I love you. Obviously, the proper kind of love. But think about how that'll change the way you interact with people. So that, to me, that's just been a huge undertaking. And then I'm listening to the Pro 10 series. I get the CDs, or I listen to those. Listen to Eric Worre over and over and over again. I listen to a lot of the recorded calls. Bob Heilig, I listen to him every morning. Daisy does a podcast almost every morning. Anything Rusty posts, I listen to. So it's out there. I'm just trying to. So I'm not really doing much actively with my business. I'm trying to build me, because my initial, my other businesses haven't been successful, and my initial out of the gate. I have some customers, but I haven't been able to recruit anybody. So I got to change me. So I've been working pretty intently on that.
That's amazing. That's amazing, Mike, because in that whole dialogue that you just had, it's all about being intentional. Everything is about being intentional. So would you say in your 34 years in corporate America, what's the difference in intentionality?
Intentionality in corporate America is to survive.
Yeah.
I mean, I've been through how many, dozen and a half right sizing, outsizing, re-engineering, layoffs. It's survival. It's trying to one up it's like, I had a buddy that I scuba dive with, and he had a knife, and we're in, Michigan inland lakes, not big lakes. And I said, what do you got a knife for? He goes, that's just something comes up, I'm going to cut you and I can swim away. It's like you only have to run faster than your partner, so that when the bear comes, stuff like that.
Exactly.
I mean, that's corporate America, man. It's swimming with the sharks. I think there's a book about that. So
wow.
The difference here is, you want to help people and bring them along with you, and if they're successful, you're successful. Where in corporate America, it's you. If you're successful, then I don't look as good, so I gotta step on you. It's just not healthy.
Amazing story. Thanks for sharing, Mike.
Sure.
Anybody else, real quick? I know we're getting close to about an hour on the call, and I want to be cognizant of everybody's time. Anybody else like to share what they're doing to focus on the personal growth, personal development side of themselves? And
Rick?
yes.
Yeah, this is Vince Cantrell. I was just going to say, as far as personal development, personal growth, I take like Rusty. I read the Bible every night before I go to bed. I spend time reading the Bible. I get so much out of that. I also take and I try to listen to. I listen on sometimes on the way to work. I listen to Joe Osteen. You know, you can put music on, or if you're not listening to a pro audio series or something, this music just seems to be a waste of time anymore to me. It's almost like you've got that driving time. You might as well utilize it. But even when I just listen to like Joe Osteen on my radio, is his message. I'm not talking about spiritual message, but I'm just talking about positivity and about being positive. To me, it means it makes me feel better. And I think about things. I think about the people I work with and how to be more, spiritual and to be, a better person. And that's what I kind of get out of that. Sometimes when I take and I do, if I'm doing a presentation or something, I take and I try to I practice it. And I think that's one thing for new people is they don't practice enough. And I think one of the things is to get in front of a mirror and actually do a presentation to yourself. Stand in front of a mirror and see what your face looks like. See what you look like. Are you smiling? I mean, because people are looking at you when you're doing the presentation. Are you keeping your eyes? Are you looking at the people, or are you just looking directly through them, or they don't see you looking at them? You're not having a personal conversation with that person. I mean, to me, I try sometimes. It may look stupid, but I stand in front of the mirror and I'll talk to myself and I'll do a presentation, my hand movements and stuff, because I know that at least that way I know what I look like when I'm doing a presentation in front of others. So, I mean, I don't know if that's kind of what you're looking for, but to me that's important when you're taking and you're trying to get better at something. The only way to get better at it is practice. I don't think we practice enough.
Very key point, Vince. I appreciate you sharing that. And
So you're practicing. Sorry. So you're practicing for this week.
Yeah, he's actually doing the meeting this week.
Woohoo!
Yay!
Yes, I am.
That is definitely, Vince. That is definitely being intentional. So I appreciate that story.
Thanks.
Well, if there's anybody else that wants to share real quick, I'm going to end with this quote, and if anybody wants to stick around afterwards, it's on Brian's dime.
Hey, Rick.
Yes,
Hey,
Russ.
Before you do that, before you quit, I just added a link there to that thing that Mike was talking about, the greatest salesman in the world. That's just a link right there to YouTube. It's an hour or so, couple minutes on that particular program. So hopefully that works.
Put it on Slack for us so I can get at it later.
Okay.
Well, Rusty, I appreciate that. And, that's all, like I had said it about earlier, it's one of the uniquenesses of our leadership in this particular group, and the fact that we can be talking about something and specifically as it's dealing with Mr. Cottrell there, he's always got an answer or got something to put on for us of a nugget of educational value, to something that we can utilize right off the bat. So, Rusty, I appreciate that intentionality in you. I really do. It has helped me grow as a person. And so I'm going to leave you with this quote, and it's not my quote. It's out of the book, 15 Invaluable Laws of Growth by John Maxwell. Get it, read it. Now here's the quote, which I'll leave you with tonight. You have to know who you are to grow to your potential, but you have to grow in order to know who you are. I'm going to repeat that. You have to know who you are to grow to your potential, but you have to grow in order to know who you are. And some of you tonight have displayed that passion. Some of you tonight have displayed that intentionality and explained that. And that's what I appreciate about this LifeVantage family. You're all like brothers and sisters to me. And I know I have all my own blood brothers and sisters, but I tell you what, this is something special that we have here, people. And seek that personal growth, seek that personal development, be intentional, find that passion. And I think we'll all be walking the beaches together out in Kauai soon. And I'm looking forward to that. I know my wife is. She's holding me to that. She's being real intentional and holding me to that. So I appreciate that. So with that, unless there's any other questions, we're
Where'd
done.
you find that quote? Rick, where'd you find that quote?
In the book, in that particular book by John Maxwell, it is on page 19 of his book, The 15 Invaluable Laws of Growth, on page 19.
Mm-hmm.
And so
That's
I appreciate it. It's 8:06. Brian, unless you got something that you want to end with or share.
just a couple things. What I have found the hardest thing at times is to forgive yourself. Okay, we are a lot of times harder on ourselves than what other people are. And, sometimes I just, man, why did I say that? Why? Because, I tell people my text is be slow to speak, swift to listen, and slow to wrath. Okay. And I don't always practice what I preach, and we're just so hard on ourselves at times. Give yourself a break. Okay. And tell yourself, I forgive you. I forgive myself. Now in God's strength, let us go forward. Okay. Let us move forward. We make mistakes, guys. I'm the master at making mistakes, but that's a part of the personal growth. And what I love about this group, we're like a family. It's, like a support group. We have our up days. We have our down days. Let me tell you, we're here to help each other because I want every one of you guys to be successful. I want every one of us to be there to reach some of these ranks and leave you guys behind. That's no fun. We got to do it together. And it's just getting out there. What can I do to help you? Rusty's there to help you. Sometimes you just need someone to listen. And we're there. Karen Gorman got off, but, keep her in your prayers. She lost a sister this week. Same age as me, 53, I think she said she was. And just a tragic loss. They don't know exactly for sure. I haven't heard autopsy yet, but her blood sugar was over 300. She just wasn't taking care of herself. So just a tragic thing. So, keep her in your prayers. And, I pray for every one of you guys every day. I ask you to pray for me. Let's hold each other up and let's keep doing this thing. Appreciate all you guys. Love you guys. And you guys have a great rest of your week. And give us a call.
Thank you. Good night, everybody.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Night.